a lot of college students, most of them wouldn't graduate and then they knew it. You know the weed slang? Man, I miss oh my goodness. Method Man, Red Man. My goodness, whatever man, how high? It's anything they made was crazy. Welcome back to App Stupid. We just got done talking about dumbass Dabo Swinney virtue signaling about how players in the portal aren't good enough to play for him, but then later on talking the truth, saying that Clemson's broke. They don't have the NIL set up and they don't have the cash to go out and get difference makers. Do what you will with that one. Now we're going to go ahead and jump to the association. Going to talk some NBA, not the product just yet. We're going to talk about inside the NBA, because when the news broke that inside the NBA, they would be, they may not be with TNT Sports, it kind of sent shockwaves through the basketball community, because that thing's been around since 1989. You have Charles Barkley going on record and saying that he was concerned because the people that he worked with, they're going to lose their jobs. And I'll be honest with you, Charles Barkley, he's an on-air personality. He's a character. He's not going to be in any jeopardy of losing his job whatsoever. They need him. He's the comic relief. But it got me to thinking, because it had nothing to do with ratings. It had nothing to do with the format of the show. This was all behind the scenes and how this thing played out. I watched countless videos of guys not looking for what really happened and why the shoe fell, because they just didn't know any better. And to see this many people fumble this ball, I had to ask myself, is there a reason why you're not bringing up the real people behind the scenes that made this possible? And it's because of access. This is because of access. This is one guy who didn't earn his way into that spot. He was bought into a company because he bought together HBO, which is Warner Brothers Entertainment, and the Discovery merger. And they was paying this dude $50 million a year. $50 million a year. Now, this dude's name, drum roll. Yeah, you got to be dramatic. You got to have a flair for the dramatic. This dude's name is David Zaslav. And in 2022, he shot his mouth off saying, quote, "Do we really need the NBA? Do we really need the NBA?" He said that in 2022. So the rights for the TNT NBA relationship, they expire in 2024, 2025. They know this. And here's a guy who didn't foster any of those relationships, didn't have any of those rights. This was kind of covered in The Athletic, but there is some pieces that you can pull around and put together, okay? It's going to come from Tess DeMeyer. Great article, great read. It even jumps over and we talk about Shams Chamara, and it's a lot of different moving pieces in there. But this all stems back from 2022 when he made that ridiculous boneheaded statement, because TNT doesn't have anything to take the place of the NBA if they pull out. And that $2.5 billion price tag that is going to cost them, they're going to have less of the product they own that they currently have now. And that was all set in motion and set by design. Again, this is a Wall Street goon who didn't make these relationships. He didn't foster what he had. He never built these things that you know of, because inside the NBA has been around since 1989, but the product that you're seeing right now, that was invented in 1999. 1999 to 2003, the format that you're looking at right now as it existed has happened through that lens. And the guy who put all of that together, Mr. Lazarus, he was at that time the head of Turner Network Television Sports. That's what you're seeing is the things that he put forth. There's no way to innovate out of anything. And sometimes revenge is a dish served best cold. Because once he was let go from Turner, he walked right over to NBC Universal Group. And guess who's the head of that group? The same guy who hired Charles Barkley. That's why Charles Barkley was able to get up and speak so freely, saying that he's scared to death because now he knows that Lazarus has all of the cards and the leverage. And if David Zaslav would have shut his mouth and kept his thoughts to himself, he wouldn't be costing them $2.5 billion. Now, that's the price tag what it costs to renew with TNT. That's what it's going to cost to renew. But if you renew, you're not going to have as much of the product that you own currently in the new deal. And so that's where NBC's leverage comes in because, like I said, this is the guy, Lazarus, Mr. Lazarus. He hired Charles Barkley. He invented that show. He's got a strong relationship with Adam Silver and the NBA Chiefs rights negotiator, Mr. Bill Knowing. So he knows those guys. He's worked with those guys. He's built that relationship up. That guy was invaluable. But now he's actually out there for the competition. And so all they needed to hear was that they didn't feel valued, they didn't feel respected. And because you didn't value them, you didn't respect it, now they have you bent over and you got to take all of that deep. Which goes to show you they have people at the top of the chain that are stupid as shit. They get these cushy jobs and they have one merger and you think, oh, this guy's smart. He gets the market. No, he don't. What could he possibly put in place on TNT to bring in the same ratings as the NBA? Absolutely nothing. You can't put anything in place. On TNT Sports, not everybody's a baseball fan. Not everybody's a wrestling fan. And I'm sorry, AEW is better than WWF, but wrestling is already on 2 to 3 times a week. We don't need more wrestling. And it's only popular in certain parts of the country. Wrestling is only popular in certain parts of the country. It's everywhere else, wrestling is wrestling. Wrestling. They don't want to watch that. It damn sure can't be boxing. All the boxers are fighting in Saudi Arabia. Because in Saudi Arabia, they're getting that money because, trust me, the Saudi government is not going to go back and forth and play these childish games. And so now you have a $50 million a year idiot who just cost his company TV rights to a product that is so good right now. Right now. And you're forced to take the All-Star game because everybody has a piece of the All-Star game. But Netflix, like I said, ABC is going to stand in line. You've got Amazon Prime, they're standing in line along with ESPN. They're just sitting there. Hey, look, we know we're not going to be the top dog. We're going to get some games, not all. We accept it. TNT was like, oh, we're the incumbent. We have all of it. Yeah, but you open your mouth when you shouldn't. You talk too much. It's like a Run DMC song. Remember that? You talk too much. Homeboy, you never shut up. This could be applied to David Zaslav. You killed a product that they've owned since '89 that hadn't been invented in its current format since 1999 to 2003. And now Mr. Lazarus is coming home to collect. In the great words of Brother Malcolm, because it's his birthday, his belated birthday, Malcolm X. In the great words of Brother Malcolm, the chickens have come home to roost. Chickens have come home to roost. So, dumbass David Zablov, he's cost them $2.5 billion. I wonder if this is enough to fire him now. Who knows? More show coming up. This is Big Vern at Ab Stupid. We'll be back.